Hey there, Tarot family. Welcome, welcome. We're doing something new on our channel today. We're going to do a deck review. We've got the Les Vampires by Lucy Cavendish. Artwork by Jasmine, Beckett, Griffith today. I adore this deck. I truly love it so much. We're going to go through just like my thoughts, and then we'll do a flip through as well. These cards are definitely not in order because I use them so much. I use them very often. One of my favorite decks that I have. And you know what's actually really interesting is like when I ordered, this is a little book that comes with it. It's very informative. It has a foreword. It says like what they'll help you with. It has some spreads that you can use, that kind of thing. And then it has, of course, like the meanings of all the cards. So yeah. But funny story, when I first got this deck, I ordered it off of Amazon. And after I saw it in, I think I saw it in a store first, and then I ordered it off of Amazon. Sorry. Apologies for all of the small business owners, which I am one, so I know that hurts, but I had an Amazon gift card and I wanted to use it. So anyway, when I first bought this deck, instead of this deck, a book came. Not that book, not the book that I just showed you. Literally an entirely different book. And it was called, what was it called? It was something to do with like energy. Like witches and energy. I forget what it was called. Something to do with witches and energy. If I ever find it, I will absolutely link it below so you guys can see it. But like, I just thought that was so crazy. And the book is like, it's very good. It's a book about manifesting and like working with energy of the earth in order to bring about the life that you want, need, and desire. But like, it was so crazy because I absolutely ordered this deck and I got a book instead. And so then I had to go back and reorder this deck because I wasn't going to give the book back because obviously it was meant to come to me for a reason. The vampires brought it to me. You know what I'm saying? So yes, this deck has brought so much insight into my life, not only through mistakes like that book, but also on purpose when I do readings with it. So I apologize in advance for any glares that you guys might see, but yes, this deck is beautiful. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous. Here's just an example of some of the artwork. This is number 6, Immortal. But yeah, Jasmine Beckett Griffith, she is a wonderful artist. These two have actually worked together on a different deck. I think actually multiple decks, but I have another deck by the two of them together, the Alice in Wonderland Oracle, and I will be doing a review of that one as well. If I had any kind of a rating system, which I guess I should make one, but I don't have one right now, I would give this deck a 10 out of 10, okay? She gives you not only amazing artwork, of course, we already talked about that, but she also gives upright and reversal meanings in the book, and she gives just kind of like a general story because each of the characters on this is supposed to be a vampire, right? So she gives kind of like a general story of what this vampire can teach you. And then she gives the upright meaning, which she calls the blessing, and then the reversal meaning, which she calls the curse. And the writing in the book is just beautiful. So I would give this deck a 10 out of 10. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the little flip through. Like I said, I'm not going to put these in order. I'm just going to go ahead and just show them to the camera. They're so pretty. I love them. Yeah, okay, we'll leave them face up. We'll leave them face up. We have this one right here. If I see like any cards that I really feel like I need to talk about, I absolutely will talk about them. But just like look at this artwork. It's literally so gorgeous. I never really cared about vampires until I got this deck. And then I was like super into them. I started really like reading like vampire stories. I started watching the Vampire Diaries. I had already seen True Blood, but I decided to like read the True Blood series. This is actually one of my favorite cards. And part of the reason is because I feel like the initials in the back are like the initials of my DJ name or like one of my former DJ names. It makes me look, I think it looks like a KF, Kiki fleas. But also it's number 18, and 18 is my lucky number. And I love that it's the anti-hero, the risk taker. And I definitely feel like when you turn 18, that's a time to take risks, because at least in the United States, you are legally your own adult at that point, right? I also like that she has kind of like an alternative style, because I kind of have an alternative style, or at least I did. I don't know if I still do. I'm kind of reworking my style at this point in my life. But yes, this is one of my favorite cards in the deck. My dog is over here and he's like wanting my attention so bad. It makes me think of Mr. Crying so bad. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, this is another one of my favorite cards, the Maynard. She just is like ready to party and I love it. You know what I think might be fun would be if we did like a deck interview at the end of this reading. So I might use these cards to do kind of like an interview so that we can see what it would be most helpful with, that kind of thing, and like how it prefers to be used, those kinds of things. I think that those are always kind of fun. But just look at them, the eyes, especially on all of these. I love the way that Jasmine Beckett Griffith does eyes. Even just look at, like, here's the back of the card, right? Look at those. Oh my gosh, all these figures are so cute. Like, you forget that they are vampires who want to like suck your, I want to suck your blood. You absolutely forget. Not with her, she looks creepy. She's a creepy one, you know? But it's so funny also that that's like outsider, because I was talking about how they're all so cute and then she's the outsider, the outlier of the one that's actually creepy. Here we go. Some people might think that one's creepy because she's holding a skull. But, whatever. Call for help. Hope right here. Maybe I should have been saying the names all along, but oh well. This is actually the card that is the same image that's on the cover of the box and the book as well, actually. More skull action, interesting. So yeah, of course, like vampires, they always have like a little bit of a gothic vibe to them. A little bit of a gothic, interesting aesthetic to them. This is a, I want to say 55 card deck. Let me double check and make sure that I'm right about that. $44. I was wrong. I knew it was a double number. I just didn't know which one it was. 54, 55 or 44? 44. I've been seeing a lot of 4s recently. So yeah, my intention is that this video helps anybody who is like considering buying the deck. I always like to go look at like reviews, particularly on Amazon and stuff like that. Even if I'm not going to buy it from Amazon, I always read the reviews on Amazon to see kind of like what the pictures look like, to see if I can connect to the pictures. So I figured maybe a video might be more helpful for some people. But I mean, the book and the guidance that these cards can give, they are so, they're just, it's a perfect pairing, it's a perfect match. So let me explain to you guys why I like these cards so much. The concept behind them, the whole vampire thing, vampires have been alive for like a really long time, at least most of them, not all of them, obviously, you know, the ones that like were just turned, that's not true, but they have the capacity, they have the ability to live for a really long time, to go through multiple lifetimes, multiple identities. They have special powers, obviously. So I feel like they have a lot of knowledge. They have different perspective on certain things that humans can't possibly have. Not only do they have the perspective of time and kind of like being able to see how things may or may not matter over the course of time, they also really like, they deal a lot with life and death and like being on the brink of life and death. So I like to use these cards when I have to make a decision, because it really, they help put things into perspective. At least for me, that's one of the things that I like to use this for. So yeah, here we go with that knowledge. Always the right card seems to come up at the right time. I mean, that's oracle and tarot reading in general, but yes, you know, and of course, you know, they understand sacrifice as well, and like what you might have to give up in order to get what it is that you want or need. Yeah, let's go here. These cards, like, they are just overwhelmingly beautiful in a lot of ways. Shout out to Lucy Cavendish and Jasmine Beckett Griffith. Okay, let's go ahead and do a little interview. I want to do a little deck interview spread. I've used the spread before, so we're going to go ahead and use it now. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just ask some questions, because I think this spread that I've used is more kind of like personal to the reader, and we're doing an interview for the world, so it's a little bit different. All right, vampires, wake up. We're about to do a little interview for you guys in case anybody is interested in buying this deck and getting your help on their own. Any other readers out there are interested in getting help, or people who are learning how to read oracle cards, whether they consider themselves a reader or not. I want to know, what do you think is your greatest strength? What do you think is your greatest strength as a deck? And then we will go to some other things. It's interesting because I kind of felt like they wanted me to talk about weaknesses first, but we're not going to do that. We're going to start off strong. Greatest strength as a weakness. Interesting. Sacrifice. That's it. Like I mentioned before, they know like the pain and the power that can come with sacrifice. This is number 35, in case that means anything to anybody. And we have renunciation, offering, and letting go. So they understand that sometimes you have to let go of what was in order to make room for what will or could be. Okay, so I am going to go read from the book on this, and I'll read the whole thing so you can kind of get an idea of how the book is authored, how the book is set up, okay? So let's go look for number 35. All the cards, of course, are in order in the book. Sacrifice, renunciation, offering, letting go. Les vampires speak. In humans' lives, there's a great resistance to choice. And you may ask us, what is choice to do with sacrifice, the name upon this card? But choice is of the very heart of sacrifice. For life, with its multiplicities of possibilities, demands that you make your choices. And for many of you, we notice again and again that you refuse to make the choice. So I'm going to go ahead and stop, because I really think one of the strengths of this deck is that vampires in general, they've had to make a lot of choices. And I mentioned earlier the idea of like life or death decisions, or making a choice in terms of like maybe you reveal yourself to somebody or you don't, or maybe you live in your authentic truth or you don't, or maybe you make choices on behalf of other people, right? And I feel like the power that vampires have to make these decisions, whether they're ready or not, they have to make those choices. And so you have to kind of sacrifice this portion of yourself in particular who is not ready to make that choice, just like the book is talking about. There's a lot of people who will hold off on making a decision, not realizing that inaction is a decision in itself. And so these cards, one of the strengths that they have is kind of bringing all of those things out of the shadows so that you can make the best choice possible for yourself with the perspective of time, and with the perspective of like, how actually, is this a real thing? Like, is it serious or is it not that serious? That kind of guidance I think is really valuable. And then also letting you know whether or not you would actually have to sacrifice something in order to get what you want, or if there's a way that you could have it all. I think that's very interesting. All right, let's keep going. For many of you, we notice again and again that you refuse to make the choice. And then you are forced to make one, but one that suits another. It is time for you to examine what you value most and what you would least wish to give up. The word sacrifice, and we know this as we have lived long, is a way of making the thing you give up sacred. It is a loss. It is painful. It matters. Therefore, the void that is left means something and must be filled with something that means more. For so many of you, you will not choose. You wish to be good to all. You wish to let down none. You do not think about what is best, for what is best is that which sets your blood alight and makes the song of your soul soar. What is best is that you know your own heart and know your own code and adhere as closely as possible to that which is noble about you. There will not be time for all, space for all, love for all. You may protest. You may wonder, what of loving everyone unconditionally? But that is an illusion. Even in love, you must choose. So we say now, you must sacrifice something. You must give up something that is precious. By doing so, make it beautiful. Make it worth it. Make it count. And make this deliberate. Do not play victim. Make your choice and be powerful and compassionate at once. The blessing with this card, which is what it means if it is in the upright position, says, your compassion, heart, and empathy will grow as a result of the sacrifice you are now being asked to make. Not by another, but by your own soul. You are strong enough to do this, but you have never known for sure because you have never put yourself to the test. Now you will. You will see just how strong you truly are. And if this card were in reverse, it would be the curse. So I'm going to go ahead and read that anyway, just to let you guys know kind of what the format of this is like. The curse says, you doubt you can give this up. Perhaps you feel you are weak. Excuses have been your refuge before this time, but now you are ready. And then there's another paragraph down below that says working with this card. So that's the format. It goes like the story, then it has the blessing, the curse, and then working with this card. So let's read that part. There is something you may need to give up. It could be that in order to do what you know to be right for your soul, you must let go of something that in many ways gratifies, excites, and soothes you. It could be the sacrifice of sleep in the morning to get up and run. It could be the sacrifice of the luxury of a paycheck in order to explore your true calling. It could be the letting go of comfort in order to explore. It could be the sacrifice of your personal time in order to devote yourself to one who needs your care at this time. Whatever it is, choose. And then know this sacrifice can be worked with and used to refine and polish your character so that you become more of the offspring of angels than you already are. So not only do I love like the language and the way that Lucy Cavendish writes, but I think the messages behind these cards are very strong. And one of the strengths of this deck is really helping you to make the choice that is going to actually like better you as a person and to better your life, to better your lifestyle in some cases, but really just to like make you a better person. Because you have to live with yourself at the end of the day, right? And vampires know that because again, they live very long. And so they have to make choices that they feel like they can live with and be proud of. And of course, they live by different codes than humans do, right? But they know what it is to have that kind of humanity, and they still want us to be able to make choices that we are proud of. So this definitely is a really good but a really good deck for when we have like major life decisions coming up. And that reminds me that like I have some questions that I'm going to ask it later on my own in my own private time, right? But yeah, this is a very good deck for making decisions and then also for kind of seeing insight into other people or other people's heads a little bit, other people's relationships even also. But I don't like to use it for that, so. I remember once I did that and like literally a card came out that basically told me to fuck off. They were like, you're not allowed here. And I loved that because these cards are very blunt. I will also say that as well. They're very blunt. Okay, let's go ahead and ask about this deck's greatest weakness. What would you say, Les Vampires, is your greatest weakness as a deck? What do you think? All right, let's shuffle one more time. What do you think is your greatest weakness as a deck? Interesting. I think it's like because it's a little bit morbid. So this says death rites, and then also it says saying goodbye, formal occasion, and honoring lives. I think there's a little bit of like a morbidness to this deck because it is about vampires. But then also, like, it kind of makes you think about death in general. We were just talking about the idea of like wanting to make sure that you can kind of like live with the decisions that you've made, and how life can be very long for vampires but much shorter for humans. And so it kind of does make you think about like the right here, the right now, being in the present, but it also makes you think about, well, at some point my life must come to an end, right? So yeah, and more skeletons. I mentioned the skeletons. There's more skeletons on here. So it definitely kind of makes you think about things on that macro scale. And not everybody likes thinking about life that way. Not everybody not everybody likes thinking about the end, you know? All right, let's see what it has to say, number 11. And I don't know if I'm going to read the whole thing, but I will read the blessing, at least. Honoring the ones we have loved who have left can be a beautiful way to come to terms with their absence and a way to help their soul make the transition to their new life beyond the veil. Evidence of life beyond death. It is time to work with any fear that you may have around death and dying, and transform this through preparation, contemplation of your legacy, and considering the interactions you have had with deceased loved ones. So yeah, they're like, we definitely are making you think about things that maybe you probably would rather not. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Last question for this deck. What would you most want to help people with? If somebody got you and decided to work with you, what would you most want to help them with? And I know that depends on the person, obviously, but in general, you know, if you could give a message to the world, what would that message be? Let's say that. Are those two different questions? All right, let's go with, what kind of help would you want to give somebody who picked you up? Let's do that. Alrighty. Thirst, craving, compulsion, obsession. So this is letting me know that if you were dealing with any kind of obsession of any kind, this deck could help you get over it. They absolutely could help you get over it. If you're dealing with limerence, or you have like a really tough crush that won't go away, or even like if, let's say, somebody's obsessed with you, this deck will help you be able to get over it. And that's because vampires, they have had, like, you know how they say like bloodlust and stuff like that, right? They have to figure out how to maintain kind of like a human facade in the face of this craving that they have, right? So they're going to help you figure out how to get over that craving that you have, or that obsession that you have. They're also going to help you kind of figure out how to like regain control of your mind and not let anything take your mind over. So if you need help with that kind of thing, this deck absolutely can help you with that. There's no question about it. All right, should we ask any more questions? Alrighty, guys. I hope that this was helpful for you if you are considering getting this deck. I do have a link down below that you might be interested in. So yeah, that was the Les Vampires deck, along with some information about the guidebook by Lucy Cavendish and Jasmine Beckett Griffith. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I will see you guys in the next deck review. Bye!